This is the Frustrated American News Headline Review Program. Programming of I. Sam Crozier's Revolution with Reason, an advertising vehicle for isamcrozier.proboards.com. To join the conversation, join in at isamcrozier.proboards.com. This shill is intentional. All money supported can be forwarded through patreon.com/isamcrozier. Become a patron at your pleasure at patreon.com/isamcrozier. All transcripts for this and other content can be found at isamcrozier.medium.com. Follow the programming of this channel at isamcrozier.medium.com. Revolution with Reason is a news and philosophy opinion review channel. The determination is to be the calmest one doing the news. The expectation is that I will not do the news badly, if I do it best. Here's hoping I am able to inform you of what you did not already have to work with. These are tonight's trending headlines. In today's top news, related to the storming of the Capitol building gates by pro-Trump supporters, the woman shot during the altercation has now died as police successfully moved the mob away from the building. A legal curfew is in effect in the D.C. area tonight as the circus of politician partisan positioning for plump pickled peaches begins. As there is very little leeway in my format to share my opinions on this matter, I will instead share a link to an image of Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen, a Republican from Oklahoma, described as cowering in fear at a coup he helped to create. The links are available on my Medium channel front. In related news, experts are being called into question tonight for high-risk, high-return intellectual stasis practices. ForeignPolicy.com shares an opinion editorial sharing a personal legend of how little academics and scholars have been able to say about the attempted coup in Washington, D.C. this evening. In related news, a detailed segment I was going to produce on the potential legality of such a coup has been canceled for deteriorating interest. In a story only loosely related, Nashville, Tennessee law enforcement are still negative in noting the December of 2020 bombing of a Nashville city block as an act of domestic terrorism. When we assess an event for domestic terrorism nexus, it has to be tied to an ideology. It's the use of force or violence in the furtherance of a political or social ideology or event. We haven't tied that yet, was the statement given by Doug Korninski, the FBI agent in charge of the agency's Memphis office. In the testcast I released at the opening of this channel, I gave Anthony Warner a deep measure of support, and I still labeled it terrorism. I must say, I am disappointed. I must also say, the expectation that a person will form the ideological connections called fear from fatal stimuli is an ideology. You have disappointed me, Doug Kornsky. This story was related by APnews.com. And yet another story only loosely related. APnews.com reports that 2 detectives involved in the shooting death of Breonna Taylor have been fired. Breonna Taylor. Okay, next story. In this related story, there's a blend between 2 stories. Mother Jones features an investigative report that states explicitly that Donald Trump meets criteria to be considered a terrorist pedagogue. Congressional Representative Cori Bush is quoted in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch as stating that the support base for Donald Trump among congressional agents should be thrown out. This combination is not to take issue with Representative Bush's argument, but I do take issue with the posture. Without organizing any mirth or institution to guide the country forward, The claim being made by Representative Bush is a symptom of the balancing act creating the problem. However, she is new, and so I'll cut her some slack. It's an old game, and a rookie has liberty to be nervous. I could not be so kind to the one affectionately known to the media as the area of conflict. In the AOC, it is important to find experience. ABC 10, an ABC affiliate serving the Sacramento, California area, reports this evening that the Modesto Police Department has released body cam footage displaying a Modesto man being shot and killed by local police. My imagination reports that when being asked about the man's shooting in an interview, the local officials reportedly stated that California is a more relaxed place with its violence, and that explains why they knew they would be shooting when they arrived. It is not known at this time if the removal of the man has made the city streets a safer place, as he does sound pretty stupid, leading this funny Jack Mia gumbo to resolutely submit that the man they shot was a clown. If I assume he was poor, his charisma, as reported, was engaged in settling for less. It was a clown, I say. In Modesto, California this evening, a clown has been shot. NBCNews.com reports that a UPS driver failed to deliver a package intentionally while spewing racist rhetoric. The UPS company has since fired the employee. I feel it's a responsible choice to raise the question, when are we going to do something about all these boundaries that do not support the quality of life we agree on as a majority, because they are a byproduct of a fear to do something about related problems? Much like what the Tootsie Pop brand mascot left us with, I suppose the world will never know. The New York Times reports today that the Pennsylvania GOP has pulled a coup in their own neck of the woods, and all the Democrat did was complain about the breach of the rules. The report does not declare if the Democrats in question were worried if their cart would pull the horse or not. In an attempt to make some sense out of the narrative being built by these stories today, I will be sharing a story of self-dependence. A Houston, Texas woman clung to the hood of a speeding car to save a puppy from thieves aware of the dog's value. While she failed to save the puppy and received a pummeling for her trouble, the woman does display the self-dependence that the humankind is predisposed to. Why we can't get some help making informed decisions is any censorship's guess. Seems like too much investment going through all this trouble if I inspire you. A CDC-produced study awaiting peer review represents that over 430,000 COVID cases and 10,000 COVID deaths can be related to evictions during the COVID outbreak. The study also represents that there has been a sharp decline in COVID cases since the anti-eviction memorandum was installed in place. There is no apparent study to determine what steps might be taken to create preventative care circumstances. Instead, we kick the can and create ever more investment for the future. Yay! Local 10, an ABC affiliate supporting the South Florida region, reports that an Indiana man has been convicted of harassment after a 4-year campaign that included sending a black rose and dead rat to the woman on at least one occasion. A need to focus on others to make sense out of where you should stand. It reminds me of a sadomasochist in an isolation ward. You know that the isolation might be good for them, but their desperate need for your touch is so distracting. Codependency is the left. Walmart is in the news today due to their activities during the opioid crisis. NBC News reports that a whistleblower explains that Walmart employees were demanded upon to break laws and overlook fraudulent business practices for minimum wage. Is what my imagination believes. I lied. Since the days of small businesses, Walmart has appeared to be a bad influence on American communities. It's like the con artist pedophile bully and a spoken word dreamer. The weak becomes the chump in this picture. If there ever were more simple days, I don't know them, but my design is Renaissance anyhow. I'm looking towards the future. Onward to the next story, which relates to the last story. I.O., a callback reference to a purple monkey puppet named Peanut, and a very, very funny comic that keeps one hand up the monkey's ass. Now onward to the actual story. It would be as though I were doing you a disservice if I did not raise the subject of Facebook. Facebook is dropping the likes from its business model. The company is quoted as saying that they are attempting to move toward a new model of bringing users the content they have selected. It's as though the company is a glutton for punishment, honestly. And on the subject of politics, I believe the company serves as example. Which is good because I do not know why I chose this story. I was tired. It was a long day. It might be that. Politics, by its nature, is the rejection of matters as to create shortcuts to understand the ways the state should be piloted. At Facebook, the only thing seemingly rejected is the user. Facebook is not known as a place you go to use social media. Facebook is known as a place you go to feed an addiction for stimulation. My imagination does suggest that at Facebook, there was no comment to this claim. Now for some uplifting news. The Georgia runoff is finally over. Moving on. A new Stand Your Ground bill has been introduced in Ohio, making it easier for citizens to defend themselves. This bill reverses Ohio's stance on a need to retreat from public spaces before acting in self-defense. Ohio's governor shows reservations about not removing the guns from the hands of dangerous people. This leaves me asking, but when will Ohio act to make guidance for those times when looking at a differently colored person breeds a need to act through the haze of what the fuck am I doing, I don't even. CNN profiles an Arizona woman who, surrounded by smoke and flames, woke a family up on New Year's morning only minutes before their roof collapsed. Here's a nod to the little nostalgias. This has been Isham Samuel Crozier, reading to you tonight's trending headlines. And they were quick. Beep, 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 beep. I'm gonna miss that when I actually standardize this under some sound.